Hey family, welcome back to the Rob and Savage podcast. Got my co-host here.
What's going on?
Emajii. Man, look, got some real interesting topics for you guys coming up. So man, hey, what's up with this dating scene, man? Seems like you got piss in it.
It's I would say it's a bit all over the place, man. It's a bit all over the place.
Okay. Why you say that?
Well, pretty much mainly, we all gonna have our different views and different opinions on things, especially how relationships should be in general.
But gender roles, I mean.
Yeah, gender roles, interracial, anything. Because it's a little bit out there.
It's out there. I mean, like I said, it's some good women out there, good men out there. But I think everything's been saturated because of our climate that we're in, the culture. And it's pushing people away from their norms. I still got hope for our Black sisters. That's all I date.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, bro, first off, look at me. I'm Black. I might not look like it, but I'm Black. So, that's the first option in my mind that comes up is a Black woman. And then also I feel that me as a Black man, I'm spiritually connected to a Black woman. I don't have nothing against other women of any other race, but spiritually inclined, I think it's automatically I need to be with a Black woman. So that's my base. That's how I would start it off.
So you wouldn't be with another race at all?
No, I couldn't do it. Yeah. I look at all the factors. If I was to do this, how I'm gonna bring home to my mom from Memphis.
But your mom's okay with it though. Was she okay with it?
Nah, she won't be okay. she might act like she will be.
Okay.
But nah, she gonna say return to sender. Get this snow out of my house.
Okay.
The Memphis will come out. And then I'm just thinking about if I was to bring children to the world and how they will have to navigate. A lot of biracial people I grew up with had identity issues in a sense. Okay. And I don't know if I want to set up, my children in that way. Heck, even though I'm very, very light-skinned, even I had some issues on people calling me white boy and all that, not knowing that I'm really Black. I just light-skinned. We don't know that Black people come in all different shades, but you don't know that until you get older.
Yeah.
But getting back on the subject now, I wouldn't want to mix it.
No, mix it. I mean, I get what you're saying.
I got you.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree with you.
Shoot, spill your beans. Why you don't
Well, me personally, I like all women. Okay, if I were to say, do I have a preference? Not necessarily, but I tend to kind of, I guess, lean more towards the other side a little bit versus your view. So, and it's not anything against them or anything. It's just kind of been my preference. It's kind of how I've been raised. Mm-hmm. I know I'm a little shade darker than you, but how I was raised, well, not necessarily how I was raised, just the environment I was in. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, that's my norm.
Are you speaking like just the environment or the schools you went to?
Well, I went to public schools first and foremost. Mm-hmm. So I was always around everybody, but I'm coming to school, Range Rover, whatever, nicer things than say like your inner city kids, right? So regardless of what my skin tone was or how I acted, it was always, oh, you don't understand. Y'all got money, you privileged, you can do whatever.
I got you.
So as time went on, we live in a nice neighborhood or whatever. So genuinely, that's the crowd I'm around. I'm around a lot of white people. My family, my dad's a doctor. So all the people that was brought into my life was usually white. Then later on in life, I went to private schools. So we all know, it's more so dominantly white or Indian or foreign or whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of...
you're getting exposed to the different cultures and seeing how you could gel.
Absolutely.
And I feel that. I mean, going back to the whole inner city school piece, all the schools I went to my whole life, from kindergarten all the way up to high school, was predominantly black schools.
Okay.
I didn't have my first taste of a PWI in a sense until I went to a junior college in Arizona, and I was the minority then.
Okay.
And that was a big time shocker for me. And to be honest with you, I entertained in my mind, okay, I'm still with a white girl or whatever girl it might be, but I just could never gel. And then I feel like I wasn't the type of black guy they wanted anyway. I think they wanted a darker black guy on top of that. So that didn't work.
Okay.
So kind of felt weird. So when I transferred to TSU back amongst our own people, and one thing I stress to people, when you go to college and you go to HBCU, I think that's the one time that us blacks can see other blacks in a beautiful form. Like, we're dressing nice all the time. Mm-hmm. The parties, like, the most beautiful women I've seen in my life was at Tennessee State University. And I think that if other black men experience that, and I'm not taking away people's experience at PWIs, but when you see us in a different light like that, it's going to make you wonder, like, okay, I didn't know, yeah, black is beautiful. You have to see it first. Like, some of my teammates, even after college, when they went to Alabama and all that.
Hold up.
Oh, man, he's gonna get me.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Right? I done seen several beautiful black women. Mm-hmm. Several. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say I have been with a lot of women, and I've had a lot of fun with women, different shades, different colors, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I can't always say, yes, that they are beautiful. But at the same time, sometimes, maybe it's just me, the ones I've met, they haven't been as beautiful as I thought they was. If that makes sense.
Are you talking about inside out?
Inside.
Okay. All right. You bring up a topic there. The inside, let's get on that.
Yeah.
I can't say every experience I had with black women was great. The outside might look good, but the inside, you can see the hurt or the daddy issues, and all those things do come into play. But I do feel that we come with some baggage too, in a sense, and the only person who's going to actually understand it is another black woman, in a sense. Now, granted, can they hold it over your head sometimes? They might.
But let's say we take that out, right?
Okay.
Like, yeah, we can share the same experiences, like, like, say my hair, right? Mm-hmm. I might not go to like, I couldn't necessarily be with a white girl. This is just in theory, though. Be with a white girl and she couldn't do my hair, or she couldn't feel some of those things. Now, granted, that is absolutely true. You know what I mean? Like, I can't talk to this girl about, like, the problem I done had today with something, either race or a certain topic. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, you don't understand. You ain't never been through that. You ain't never been looked at in a funny way just because you black or something like that.
Right,
like, we can't have that discussion. But I done had my hair done by white girls before. You know what I mean? Okay. And it's been straight. But again, there are certain things that they wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I used to go to therapy a while back, and the lady that I was doing it with, she was white, right? Mm-hmm. And in the inner side of me, talking to her and everything, like, kind of about my problems and me as a man, I knew that she couldn't relate and she couldn't understand. So I cold-heartedly do. I do agree with you on that part.
Yeah, I mean, that's another mitigating factor that I looked at it with it is I'm a world news type of guy. I want to know what's going on I just want to know about my surroundings, period.
Okay.
And I do feel like if I'm with a other race woman and there's something going on the TV at the time, racial, I don't want to have to tiptoe in the conversation to make her have to feel comfortable about it. So that's another thing.
Who cares?
That's true.
I ain't about to tiptoe about nothing.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
That's
like,
true.
I get you can't say certain things, but, like, we all got our thoughts on, say, like, the LGBTQ community and our races and, things like that. Everybody got their own opinions, politics, whatever.
Yeah,
but I think if you really trying to have a true bond with somebody needs to be that person to not be afraid and tell them like, okay, look, I get you white or I get you Hispanic or Asian or whatever it is. I should still be able to talk to you about those things regardless if you my skin tone or not.
See, that's the thing. That's why I feel like, with a black woman, I ain't got to explain. We already both inherited. We know what's going on. So we have that intellect. But I understand if you want to be able to break that down to your outside of the race spouse. But I just,
But remember, too, it's kind of two levels to it. You know what I mean? Like, you got your activists.
Yeah.
And you got your people, I guess, like me. I mean, I love my community, But at the same time, my views on a lot of things ain't going to be her same views.
Yeah.
Would I like to talk to her about those things? Yeah. But just because my view may be right and her view may be left, it's still going to be a headbutt there. You know what I mean?
You're right. It's going to be a headbutt. Because like I said, even if she is black, she might not fully agree with you about feminism or how you feel, how I might feel about it. Because, that's a trick. That's a real sticky topic too about women empowerment too, on any race probably. I will say our culture, even regardless of what race you date right now, our culture has messed up the dating pool. And that's why I start off this interview saying the dating scene got piss in it.
Well, when you say it's like that, what you feel like kind of led it that way?
Social media norms, what we expecting a relationship should be, or everybody getting caught up in a certain lifestyle and what they don't have, and they have a spouse that might be giving them enough, but it's not enough to match what they're seeing on social media, and they'll throw them off. The level of divorces right now, I must be mainly speaking the black side, of people divorcing, and the main cause is not infidelity. That is wild. Like, you got a lot of divorces going around right now from finances or just people feeling like they're not being heard in a relationship.
Why do you think that is?
I
have my opinion.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
Well, my opinion, I think that it's just that we are so busybody and we're not listening to each other in a sense, but I still feel like that can be fixed. I don't think that should be grounds for divorce. Even if you do speak to your spouse about that, I think people are still scared to get to seek counsel.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a spiritual person. I'm faith-based though. And I believe in the only reasons that we're supposed to divorce is from infidelity. But if you do forgive, you got to let it go. So
let's just say, let's take race out the picture. Let's say you was getting all those things from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Could you... What's your thoughts now if we took race out of all of that? Because that's the main.
Be honest with you, my friends and teammates that I have who are dating currently or have dated, let's say white women, they don't. Now, it's not all of them, but they don't. Some of these things that we bicker about in our own race, that doesn't come in their picture. They're happy just to have a man just coming home to them and take care of business. Not saying they're cool with their man cheating on them and doing all those things, but as long as their bills paid and they're taken care of, they can care less in a sense of what their man going. Of course, they do care. And you saying this about the white side in particular? Yeah, whites. I heard Hispanics can be a little spicy, so I ain't gonna talk about them too much.
Yeah, a little spicy.
Yeah, they can be a little spicy. But the Asian, I heard about the Asian women. They're not checking for the men like that. They're pretty much satisfied with. Kind of like what Trump brought up about the locker room talk when they asked Ivanka, how you feel about Trump saying it? She said, well, it's just locker room talk.
Okay.
So it's like they kind of, yes, they don't want their man messing around on them, but that's not a type of grounds for leaving them at the moment. But they will once their money's gone, though.
Now,
but that can be across the board.
That's what I was about to say. You can't just specifically put that on. Just like say a white woman or any other race, you know what I mean? Because I done been with women and it's like once the grass ain't green as it used to be, it's always a problem regardless of whoever it is.
Well, that goes back to how as a race we have gotten away from our conservative ways in a sense. Black folks have always came from ever since slavery, we came from a struggle way where we was working together. Yeah. So we have lost that in a sense in this new age where if he ain't got it all right now, I don't want him. I ain't trying to build.
And let's go on that. So that's what my problem would be. Okay. Like, for instance, I may not have it right now, right? But I could be the best dude ever, treat you right, make sure everything's accounted for. You got food, I got food. If we got kids, whatever, everything's cool. But I'm still kind of not fully in with you because they're not invested in me because it's always somebody who got a little bread. It's always somebody who may do something a little different. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I feel like relationships now, and this is across the board. This ain't a race thing. A lot of people don't fully invest in whoever they feel like they want to be with.
I agree with that. Yeah, man. So let's segue, man, why we think that it's such a divide with the whole black man, black woman, not interracial, but their relationship period. Like, why they at odds, and why it's probably driving them to date outside the race. What do you think that's the main cause of that?
Well, for me, I just feel like a lot of, don't come at me. I love y'all. I love my black women. But I feel like a lot of them don't really have nothing to offer. And it's I want to do what I want to do. And you ain't going to tell me otherwise. I'm not saying like the whole aspect of cheating or whatever. But I mean, like, let's think about the majority of the music women listen to, artists currently. Now, I'm not putting that on blame, right? Has nothing to do with that. But things that are kind of imprinted in our brain, that does resonate to our life. You know what I'm saying? If I'm listening to, let's say Young Boy all the time, right? I might not, be that person who's going to rob you or do anything like that. I'm not saying his music's all like that, but I might be a more aggressive person throughout my day to day. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I give you that because I know in my younger days, listening to Boots and Weber, it would have me hype. I might have committed no crime or nothing, but
you in that mode. You like, you go ahead, try me today.
Right, and that's why he's always listening to it before a game. So I will say, bro, I disagree with you on. I think it is affecting with the music. I think that we're in a time where women across the board, but specifically black women, are feeling liberated. And they feel like, basically, hey, men been doing this for years and we can do it now. But I don't think they're seeing the impact that it's going to leave on them because at the end of the day, if you are spiritual or biblical, the book says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So as a man is navigating through his journey, and a man should never lose a man should be following his purpose the whole time, his goals. And I think a lot of people take that term wrong. I think what they meant by that was as he's going through his purpose and finding his purpose, and as he's going through his purpose and he finds a woman as he's going through his goal, that he found a good thing. It's just like, for example, if I'm in a grassland or a marsh somewhere and I see a gold nugget in the grass, as I'm going through my purpose through walking through the forest and I find this piece of gold, I have found a good thing. So you're still not leaving your focus off the goal, but you find a good thing as you journey through your goal. I think that women have felt that, well, since we've been held back, they feel like they've been held back. And now we're seeing them saying, well, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. Hear me roar. This is my body. This is what I want to do. And it's putting our women in a backspin because they're not understanding you can only live that type of lifestyle for so long. Basically what I'm saying is, like, we have our women are liberated now and they're making more money than us. They got more degrees, so it's kind of hard for them to want to listen. And that's driving some men away because sometimes in some men's ego, that was his whole thing of, okay, she has to depend on me. And then that dependency is kind of gone now, and it's got them like, well, reaching for other women of other races who are going to feel like they're going to still need the man.
Yeah, but you got that. But at the same time, too, I think black women push us away way more than we do. I mean, think about how many times you done tried to talk to somebody or whatever. Maybe not now, but maybe like when you was younger or whatever. But even now, you try to talk to somebody and it's an issue. You know what I mean? Just because I tried to be respectful. Granted, you know, there's some people out there that's very dudes, very disrespectful to women.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I can understand that. But like, let's say me or you, we went up to somebody and maybe you might not be the flyest right now. You may not be in whatever mold, that perfect mold that they see at that moment. You might not get the time of day just because they're entitled or they feel however they want to feel at the moment. You have the audacity to approach me,
right? And
you look like how you look, or you talk a certain way.
That right there, bro. Now granted, even though I'm a very pro-black man, I will have to concur with you on that because of, again, growing up in hood areas and metro schools. I will say our black sisters are very opinionated when it comes to the men.
Yeah,
very.
And I'm gonna be real. I ain't never had no other race turn me down, but I have had black women turn me down several times.
That we can't get them all. Yeah,
right.
But
I mean,
right,
hey, no,
right.
I'm just playing.
But I feel you though. But it's but I will say that's something that is hindering. It will hinder black women in a sense, especially when it goes back to the culture.
Yeah.
Growing up, I'm gonna speak on myself a little bit, and I said this in previous interviews. Growing up, me being so light skinned was a deterrent in a sense to certain type of black women that I wanted. When I was in the 90s, I was just in love with dark skinned women, but man, they did not want me. I'm saying, hey, yeah, even they wanted Tupac and Tyrese. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, it was just wow. So. And it was basically that was coming off of either their moms told them about how they felt about light-skinned men and it rubbed off on them, or it could have been their own experience they might have had with one who did them wrong, broke their heart, boom, boom. But it also kind of fell out with me as being a man. I would have to get in a lot of fights with my classmates because they thought I was a weaker vessel because I'm light-skinned or think you're a pretty boy and all that. So you had to go through all those little battles. But sticking with the women's side, I didn't really get play from the women I desired until, and I joke about this, but I really mean this. I said this in the last one. When certain musical artists started to come out, is when I started getting looked at a little bit. When Pretty Ricky and B2K and B5.
Ain't that a shame though?
It is a shame.
Like
it's a shame, but I think they still go back to the parenting. Okay. But then again, I can't even say that. It really go back to the Willie Lynch / slavery, because even my father, my dad is 72. He told me when he was a young man, he was actually dating a light-skinned girl. And my dad is kind of light-skinned himself. But when he went to go meet the young lady's mom, the mom told the daughter later, like, you don't need to tell him he ain't light enough.
Because that's the thing. We self-sabotage us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I have my own views on things, like how we do things as a culture in general.
Yeah.
Like things like when we're trying to basically voice our opinions on something. So say like George Floyd, or when we do marches or whatever. Mm-hmm. My opinion on all that, we're not going to get too much into it, but I don't necessarily feel like we need to do things like that no more. And say like with women too, we hard on ourselves, man. We don't let nothing go. I could have been that one dude 16 years ago that was with this girl, and in her mind, ain't nobody nothing.
Not real.
For years. For years.
Yes. So I'm glad you said that, bro, because I want to segue this into this part about going back to being over opinionated. I'm gonna throw something else out there that might get off watchers in a rump a little bit. I feel that another thing that might be hindering black women in the dating pool is their desired type of men that they want and they're expecting. So I think there's a lot of women out here who's missing out on good men because the men that's in front of them, they could be good, they're short, or they have bright skin complexion.
They ain't got no money.
They ain't got no money at this moment. And I'll be honest with you, we have overly sexualized our mindsets too. The way media and the culture got it, every man got a penis got to be big. Now every man gonna be the same. So you got some women who are probably missing out on that just because they think, well, if I even had the guy, and since he's not well endowed to her liking or what she's used to, she can miss out on the whole opportunity of having a good man just because of that one fact. I don't see any other race that does that. Or even, what I mean by that is we putting sex on the forefront, on the first initial thing of why this man is good for me. Well, I think other races, they're looking at, okay, what can he do for me? Sex is a plus. Ours is a mandatory.
My question is, to all the women out there, what can you do for us? Because I feel like a lot of them don't do nothing.
Yeah, you feel, oh man.
I feel like a lot of them don't do nothing. Just like there's a 1% of people who are rich in the world, I feel like there's a 1% of women who actually can do something in life.
Yeah.
And I know that sucks to say, and that's going to create some backlash.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what can they offer besides sex, besides cooking? Like, can they be an active listener? Do they actually want to build something in life? Do they want to just be that housewife that just take care of the kids? Like that some of that stuff is it's just gone.
We found out that ain't true because you see the situation that with Steph Curry's wife. She came out blatantly saying that she wanted to be desired like Steph is, but she had it all.
Right.
And so you don't know what, but another thing.
She's black too.
And she's black. Yeah, you're right. She's black too. But it's like
that was a poster couple.
That's what we poster couple. You're right. And she came out and said, "Yeah, that was man, that was bad."
Yeah, it was bad.
But it makes you think like, what do they really want in a sense? But pushing. Sometimes they say that might be pushing them towards white men in a sense, but they get a rude awakening with that too because I think everything is surfacey. They think everything's all good on the grass. The grass is green on the other side. Once they get over there, they see that they have expectations too that they've been used to for years too.
Yeah,
and they get caught up in this social media thing. Like, oh, this is a white knight. You know, he's gonna do this and that. I was like, yeah, but it comes with a price. Just like what Kevin Samuels was saying, a lot of women want a 6-figure man, not knowing what comes with that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of 6-figure men who got some sick fetishes, and if you try to get with them, it's gonna you have to fulfill.
And I'm one of them. No, I'm kidding. But
that's wild.
But I do agree with you on that. And I mean, you know, we ain't just gotta talk about the women. You know, I think that goes for men too. So say like, for me, you know, like I said, I do love all races, but at the same time, I kind of tend to shy away from our side of things because just kind of going on backstory, my heart's been broken by only us. You know what I mean? And those people that I thought, you know, yeah, I was younger or whatever, but that's besides the point. A lot of the times when I've tried to get play from our people or I've tried to talk to our people about certain things, it really doesn't matter to them or it doesn't resonate. You know what I mean?
I guess.
So it's kind of...
You're right. We got to be fair. I mean, black men, you know, just dating white women, my personal, now I'm not getting on you on this, but my personal thoughts on that is the way you broke down your situation is different. But other situations I've heard from people about how their reasoning to me is just a weak excuse of theirs, basically as in...
I get that.
You know,
you see it all the time.
You see it all the time.
Right.
It's like
he was an athlete. Most of the time, you see him with a white woman. And I feel like when I was growing up, you know, it was always talked about like,
white girl do this,
white girl do this,
it's
white girl do
always
that.
Sexually driven.
And it's you know, it's a little bit easier. But in my experience, it's really not. It's kind of the same thing. The only thing I would say that was different is the cultural aspect of it.
Yeah.
So how things are done, how things are prepared, thought processes on certain things, or even opinions on certain things. You know what I mean? But I think now with the way both sides think, black men and black women, we're in that era where everybody's opinion does matter, right?
Yeah.
So my view and her view might not be the same. So it's a problem. But people don't realize there has to always be a yin and a yang. You know what I mean? I could be a heavily Trump supporter, and she could be a heavily Biden supporter, and that's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. You should always be able to be in the middle and see eye to eye somewhere.
Well, that's what it comes down to. You know, we getting biblical again about being evenly yoked. I think it even comes down to your political field. Like myself, you know, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm independent. But you know, as I'm making money for myself and learning things and seeing things, I am leaning towards the Republican Party a little bit, as in their moral things. But it's like
people don't know. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that another time.
That's for another time.
Yeah,
man.
Because the whole party situation, we don't even know the true history of it.
We don't. They're all the same bird, to be honest. But hey, we'll get back on that, man. Look, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in to us. Stay tuned.